What's up, guys? Hey. I don't have a voice.
You don't. Where is he? Woo.
It went away. Yeah. If you were witnessing some feedback just now, that was not the radio. That was my voice.
No, Jay is going through puberty again for the third time.
Fourth time.
Oh.
I thought it was a fifth.
You just got hormones on top of hormones on top of hormones. Jesus, man. But welcome back to another episode of Blerd Survival Guide. I'm your co-host, Jeremy.
I'm your co-host, Jay.
Yeah, and then we have a special guest in the building, Mr. Nick Marbury. Nick, how you doing?
Nick.
What's up, man?
He's going to be a little quiet, but yeah, he's here in place of Miriam. Miriam had to take some time off, some personal time after the weekend that we had.
He's a special guest. I wouldn't say he's replacing Miriam.
Well, no, I'm just talking about for tonight. Just the background voice for tonight is being replaced. Miriam had to take some personal time, so we have a third voice that we just brought in, and actually he's a guest. He's just a guest, and we're happy to have him here.
Is Miriam like prominent? Does she talk a lot during the?
No, she's
like color commentator.
She'll add her 2 cents here and there depending on the topic of conversation.
Yeah.
Last time when we talked about Legend of Korra, she was like full fledged.
Oh yeah, that's when we had like the full on microphones everywhere.
Yeah, microphones and set. It was a whole setup.
It was a whole setup. But yeah, this week we're back for another week of episodes and debauchery of some sort of nonsense. But Jay, how you doing? How you feeling?
Man, yeah. I am feeling. I'm still feeling the euphoria from the weekend. I'm not gonna lie.
What happened this weekend, Jay?
We went to space camp.
We did go to space camp.
We went to space camp, which
what you think.
If folks don't know, it's a Grizz sponsored event. Who is a music artist that Jeremy and I both like a lot.
Indeed.
And he curates 2 nights of performances with his own hand-picked openers, and we just get down and have a good time for the 2 nights that are there, as well as the hours in between. We just boogie and have a good time. Yeah. I don't know how else to describe it than just a regular party that's on 10 the entire time.
Yeah, no, it was a weekend of loud music, as the kids say. I hope you guys can't hear that in the background. We have a car that's backfiring, and we pray that you don't.
God,
hear that.
I hope that's backfiring.
I will be honest with you, that don't sound like backfiring.
We gonna say this, and then because I heard an engine after it, so we gonna say it's backfiring for the safety.
Usually, the engine means they're speeding off, but I'll keep my expert opinion.
It was a backfiring vehicle.
He is an expert.
It was a backfiring vehicle. We're not gonna worry about that.
But anyway, yeah,
but
man,
no,
I've been feeling good like that. I'm happy to be on the recovery from the weekend as well. It has me looking forward to the week. How are you feeling, my friend? This was a different kind of event for you.
Yeah, it was a bit much for me. I've learned that the true EDM scene, electronic dance music scene, isn't necessarily for me. It'd have to be a specifically curated audience and artists for me. So Grizz is definitely top of that list. And
always.
We'll just have to curate it from there. Just people I like. I mean, if we got like Brass Tracks and Big Gigantic and some other folks that along
Dramatic,
those lines, Dramatic, yeah. Along those lines, yeah. Then I would have had a greater time.
That'd be an experience.
That'd be a whole experience of horns and dubstep and bass.
And just sprinkle a little AJR in there for you. Bro, you talk about a dream lineup.
Ooh.
I have no idea what y'all talking about.
This is some of the topic and subject matter that we get into because we love rap music. Not really. We just love music.
Okay, Nappy Boy Radio. That's all the podcast that we're not a part of. But T-Pain, if you want to join our podcast one day, let us know. But that is not today's episode. Today's episode, we're going to be discussing a very spoiler-heavy movie that we just saw post-Space Camp.
Man.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Major spoiler alerts ahead for the new Spider-Man No Way Home movie that just came out this weekend.
I just want to first address the level of anticipation that has been put behind this one film.
Lord have mercy.
10 times that of Black Widow, of Captain America, Shang-Chi, all of these stories.
All the Marvel TV shows.
Yeah, I mean, just without a doubt, this is bar none the highest, anticipated Marvel movie of the year.
Since Endgame, I would say.
Since Endgame, right?
That came out in 2018.
I'm saying, I mean, all credit to Marvel for building the level of anticipation around this film, because honestly, it set the bar.
It set a new bar.
And then the movie just shattered the bar.
Yeah, man. Spider-Man No Way Home, I'm already giving it I'm ranking it a solid 10 out of 10. It is my favorite Spider-Man movie to date, and that's predating the OG Raimi version, Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. That's definitely going over Spider-Man number 3. The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and Spider-Man Homecoming, Far From Home. Those are literally, Spider-Man No Way Home is literally, it shatters all of those, and it's top tier Spider-Man movie from start to finish. Let's get started from the beginning of the movie. Let's go. What you got, Jay?
I mean, from the very beginning, like it introduces it and it sets the tone because Marvel does this damn thing where they don't introduce the movie with the Avengers or Marvel Universe theme song. Right. It's just straight to dialogue while the Marvel entrance comes in. And so you just know from that point that this movie is that ish.
It's about to pop off. The only time it did that was like in the movies.
Endgame.
Only other time, it was Endgame. When it was just silence and we went straight into it was straight into the movie. We said Marvel, the directors, Kevin Feige, all of them were just like, no, we're not going to give you any fanfare. We're not going to give you any music. We're just going to say from second number one, we are getting into this movie because we got a lot to tell you and we got a lot to show you. And that's exactly what it was. Because it was
2.5 hours to do it.
We got 2.5
hours to do it. And I swear to God, like, overall, my favorite thing about this is like the level of detail and the level of information that they managed to weave seamlessly, effortlessly, but so comprehensively.
But then also
into the 2.5 hours,
and also didn't make it feel like 2.5 hours. It made it feel like time was not a concept by the end of that movie. You really didn't realize we got into that theater at 10:45. We left at about 1:30. We didn't even realize it was 1:30 until we got into the car, and it was like, oh wow, it's midway through the afternoon. Good Lord!
And this movie has entertained us the entire time. And I mean, like. Because, there was maybe like 3 big reveals or 3 big moments that like really impacted like the course of this movie. Mm-hmm. Like first, you got like, all right, Tom and Doctor Strange, like that whole thing happened.
Well, no, first you got to start with you first got to start off with the ramifications of what happened from Spider-Man Far From Home at the very end, where Mysterio said, "Yo, Spider-Man was trying to kill me, and I want you guys to know." The true identity of of Spider-Man is Peter Parker, showing his face. We got J. Jonah Jameson, who was a prominent part of this movie.
My man said that he looked like the dude from InfoWars.
Background, everything, the headlines, it looked just like InfoWars.
Man,
which is so true because like you see it like it's literally like a basement setup.
It was like when he first got started, like he was still trying to do the podcast and still small kind of deal with J. Jonah Jameson. It was like I'm in my garage with the green screen and the table. But then like you see his whole empire grows because he's gotten popular with exposing Peter Parker as Spider-Man, and he's gotten more popular with the people. So he goes from that small little garage to being in a whole not movie studio, but like a news studio.
He gets a whole studio,
a whole operation with interns and cameras and
So to not get off topic, but the James Jonathan that was in this Spider-Man.
Yep.
Is he the same one from the first?
From the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Yep.
So it's the same actor, but it's a different universe.
So different J. Jonah. Yeah. Okay. But J. Jonah Jameson is still the leader of the Daily Bugle.
Yeah. Okay. And this is, instead of it being the Daily Bugle newspaper, it's the dailybugle.com. Okay. So it's a whole website.
So it is exactly like InfoWars, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the way that that drop, and then the next drop, which would be.
I mean, you can immediately have the ramifications of that because, like, as soon as Peter dropped MJ down into the ground, you see all these people going around here. It's like, are you Spider-Man's boyfriend? Are you Spider-Man's girlfriend? You gonna do this, Peter Parker? Like,
right.
Trying to get all around them, and they had to escape that. They were like, see them trying to escape, get caught with Aunt May and Happy. They're trying to get they're figuring out that, oh crap, Peter Parker is now Spider-Man, and everyone knows this. And what are we gonna do about that? And it just gives them the idea, like, what do we do? We're losing our chances to go to, like, we can't even get to MIT now because we're all seen as criminals at this point.
Which is so messed up. And I mean, It really does, like, gives it the perfect Spider-Man moment. He's like, all right, full sacrifice, full stop for everybody that I love. Let me make sure that no one remembers that I'm Spider-Man. And that's what brings him to Doctor Strange.
Well,
and
before I brought him to Doctor Strange, we had to get some legal issues out the way because he had to go to the he had to go to the police officers and say, I did not kill Mysterio. I'm a good guy. He had to clear his name.
Right.
And we had to find a certain lawyer that came to his apartment and be like, hey, I can help you because you're a minor. You don't actually get in trouble and you can't get caught for this. And
it was so subtle, I even forgot about it. Honestly.
We had a certain blind lawyer that has been in the Hell's Kitchen of New York that we've all seen before.
Previously played by Mr. Keanu Reeves. No,
Ben Affleck played
Ben Affleck.
but the most famous iteration that everybody loves is the Charlie Cox version on Netflix. Yep. Daredevil has made his return as the lawyer, as gets Matt Murdock, that's his name. Yep. That gets Spider-Man off and is able to free him.
It happened so quickly though, and I forgot about it. I actually did forget about that.
And then we even see like him still using his little sonar powers when you see the brick fly into the window. He catches
grabs that bitch. He grabs that hoe.
And it was like, how did you do that? He was like, I felt it. And it was like, we know damn well you know how to do that.
Yep.
So Daredevil now exists in the the MCU, but also so does Kingpin for all of you Hawkeye fans who haven't seen the new episode yet.
You need to keep up with Hawkeye, I swear.
Because they tied that literally
directly
right there on the same week. I'm like, good Lord, that's wow.
It's timing.
But then that does lead us into Peter getting the idea of going to Doctor Strange so that everyone can forget that Spider-Man exists and Peter Parker does not exist. And that
goes awry very quickly.
Yeah, because we have to get specifics of who needs to be remembered and who can't remember. And
I need Doctor Strange to have given him a bit more direction on how to make this spell before he made the spell.
We should have, because Doctor Strange, he was just ready to
act.
Yeah,
like, he was just like ready to go. Do no planning, no questions,
no specifics. He was like, I need you to write. Like I would have sat him down and be like, all right. Who do you want to remember you as Spider-Man? Who not? But I mean, if we did get that, then we wouldn't have gotten the movie that we got.
Nah. But I'm just saying, like, Doctor Strange was so ready to just put all the blame off on Peter, like acting like because he was so young, which he did admit that I forget that you're so young.
Like, you're 17 going on 18. But that's literally.
Come on, Steven. You're one of the smartest men in the world, in the universe.
At this point, he is the smartest man.
Good job, though. Like, you think you say I saved the world? I'm not gonna think of you as a child.
And I mean, that's also how Steven thought too.
Yeah, that's the point that he makes.
He was like, "You helped me save the world. Please just call me Steven."
In retrospect, in 2020 with 2020 vision, like you're just like Steven, don't put it off all on my boy Peter.
Right.
Don't put it all on my boy Peter.
I mean, you're also a grown man doing these things for a child at this point. It's like,
I mean, he calls him sir nonstop. He's like, no, we saved the universe.
Please do not call me sir.
See, that kind of ties into what we were talking about. The last movie when you said it showed him like he wasn't ready to take that responsibility. He's trusting Mysterio. He don't know this man.
That's true.
You give him Tony Stark's technology because
right. And I mean, it speaks to the youthness. And I was talking to Nick about this.
It also speaks to his innocence.
Yeah,
as Peter Parker.
But literally, we've got like from the first three, we got to see the crazy amount of transformation that he has gone through as a young man that just starts off as like literally the
friendly neighborhood Spider-Man,
and then he goes. Obviously, we get Avengers and all that too. Yeah. We're not even talking about how that.
I mean, we'll get there. But no, continuing on with the story. I mean, that's basically the tipping point of how this whole story comes to fruition. And you got Doctor Strange who messes up the spell, but also he thought he encaptured it into that orb. Turns out that some people got through the gate while he was trying to do that spell.
Yep.
First off, on that bridge scene that we've all seen in the previews with our man, Dr. Otto Octavius coming through.
The original Otto Octavius.
Yeah, he came through. You see him pop up and all you hear is, "Hello, Peter."
Just looking for Spider-Man.
Yep.
Like, where are you?
That whole fight sequence was dope. Going through that, and then all of a sudden you hear like, oh crap, there's like, you got the Peter tingle and he's saying, oh my god, there's someone else on this bridge. And you hear the menacing laugh, you see the pumpkin bomb, and
the beautiful reprisal of Willem
Willem Dafoe. Yeah, he made his comeback, and it was, Chef's
On
kiss.
freaking point, man. Like, what I love is the mental health aspect that they add to it at Feast for his character.
Oh yeah, no, they made. I mean, and I kind of
and that's in the comic book.
It's from the comic book, but also like from the OG Spider-Man movies. He dealt with that same thing. It's like it was basically the dissociative identity disorder. It's like you have these two beings. It's just that because it is a comic book story, it's like the evil being is on a heightened level with heightened strength and agility at this point.
Yep.
And so
It's
you
a
have
super soldier.
Yeah,
It's a super soldier.
yeah, you have. I mean, I think that's essentially where all of our main problems come through with villains is that they want to recreate the super soldier serum that created Captain America.
Often.
And
So
so that's
often,
how that's how we got the Hulk, because that's what Bruce Banner was trying to do.
Yep.
That's how we got Red Skull in the first movie, because he was actually the first person to actually do it.
Don't forget Black. What's his name? From
The other black Captain America that could have been Captain America.
Yeah, and Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah,
Yep.
he was a test. I mean, that was just a parallel to like the Tuskegee experiments.
Yep.
But then you also have like we just said with Green Goblin, he was trying to create a super soldier serum so that he can cure the world. But instead of that, he became crazy and became a Green Goblin with deformities, essentially. And I mean that's kind of where like a bunch, and just in comic books in general, that's where all of these villains and different storylines kind of pop up. Is like, hey, we need to recreate the super soldier serum because we have the one perfect super soldier. Let's do it again, and we can't do it again because there's only one Steve Rogers.
Exactly.
Yeah. But going forward with the movie, what else we have? I mean, just trying to skip through so we like.
I mean, the
keep it
highlights
within
of
time.
this film. I mean, there's
So many highlights.
So many highlights, and
Do you want to go straight to the big reveals?
I mean, I'm thinking that Ned got magic, and then what happened after Ned gets magic?
Ned got mad. First of all, just a quick little spiel. Ned, he claimed it. He said, "My family says we have magic."
My man manifested the magic.
Yeah, Dr. Strange was like, "You need to go talk to your physician about that. If you got tingly fingers in your hands," and it's like,
I don't know.
my boy got magic.
Which
We
I thought
found
was
that
funny
out.
because he's a doctor.
Exactly. But like we got that. Ned has magic, and he was just like, "I want to bring Peter home." We see him open a portal.
Which why does he want to bring Peter home?
Because Peter has, unfortunately, we finally get our phrase of all Spider-Man phrases: "With great power, there must always come great responsibility."
Which also means
The death of certain aunts and uncles, and
it always comes after that.
yeah.
Without fail.
From the OG, we have Uncle Ben who said it in the car, and then about 10 minutes later, he dies from the gunshot. We all had the same thing from The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yep.
This time, unfortunately, we have Aunt May fighting. Hot Aunt May.
So sad.
Open the silence for Hot Aunt May.
Yep, because she is dead.
She is no longer with us, unfortunately.
That's
Because
unfortunate.
It is.
It's very.
It really was. It really
It's
was.
very. But I mean, it also.
I didn't freaking see it coming.
I didn't either, but it showed the lack of remorse that Green Goblin had in this movie.
Especially for her to bring him. It's because of him that he's here. It's because of her that he's even still here.
Right.
And he just yeets her with the freaking
With the Goblin glider.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Yep.
that was one of the hardest parts to watch for me, and that whole theater fell silent when that happened too.
Oh yeah,
The whole theater fell silent. We had an active audience this time. I was happy about that.
I mean, the theater that we watched it in by itself was amazing.
Oh, that
my
too.
gosh, the Dolby.
Yeah, but while Peter is grieving because of the death of Aunt May, we have Ned and MJ trying to find him because we need to figure out what to do. We understand that Aunt May is gone, but we also have these bigger problems to face, and we'll deal with grieving later.
Afterward. Yep.
And so Ned is basically saying, "I just want Peter to come home." Waves his hand, and we see a spark from the portal. And MJ was like, "Wait, do that again." It's like, "I want Peter to come home." And he starts doing a circle.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, you just like, "I want Peter to come home. Peter, come home." You see the circle, the teleport circle open, and you see a figure in the background.
It kind of looks like a very sad Peter.
Right, and like he's just like in the alley walking around. But all of a sudden, you turn around, you see big buggy. That's what I saw first was the big buggy spider eyes. And then you see him wave, and the type of wave he did. It was the posture in the wave that was like, "Oh wait, this is Tom."
Hold up.
He starts running toward the circle. He comes through the circle. dear Lord, it's Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, and he's denied it for so long, saying, I'm not in this movie, I'm not in this movie, I'm not in this movie. And he comes through, he takes off the mask, it's Andrew freaking Garfield. And it's just like, what's up, guys? I heard you looking for Peter Parker. And it's like, yeah, who the hell are you?
I'm Peter Parker.
It's like, no. And then like he has to prove to himself that he is he has to prove to MJ and that he's Spider-Man. He
Mostly MJ. Mostly
right.
MJ.
He was like, I need you to crawl. We had the whole funny scene with Grandma trying to clean the cobwebs.
Spider Pig was on the wall.
Spider Pig was on the wall, and we got a Spider Pig. Exactly. But then also we say, hey, we tried again. Ned was like, and MJ was like, hey, try it again. We need to find Peter. And we hear, all right, I want Peter back. I want to bring Peter back. I want to bring Peter back. Opens up another circle. It's behind him this time. But you see another figure walk through with a slightly flatter hair,
a little bit older,
a little bit wiser. One that we've seen, I haven't seen in almost 20 years. Mr. Tobey Maguire has come back as OG Peter Parker.
I admire Kevin Feige's idea, like his vision, so freaking much.
It was a beautiful moment.
Much.
The crowd cheered.
Like, they did.
It was dope.
They did. It was. I mean, it's an iconic like part of the entire like Spider-Verse. It's literally like the most like well-known Spider-Man that anybody.
He's the beginning. What do you mean?
Literally, he was literally.
I mean, I understand that Blade was a lot of like doors opening for comic book movies, but the original Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire that introduced majority of the comic book lovers. Love for comic books at that point.
It allowed for room for other comic books to potentially be made. Like they made like the original Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four. You got
Daredevil during
X-Men.
that time. X-Men during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I forgot about Daredevil. That was trash.
I mean, you have your wins and your losses.
That was an Incredible Hulk. They could have kept those. I'm sorry.
You know, we don't talk about Robert Norton.
Okay. Edward Norton. Yeah.
Edward Norton. Yeah, it's
him or the other Ang Lee, the Hulk.
Yeah,
the 2003 Hulk. That was.
We don't talk about that one either. We don't talk about that one either.
Yeah,
those dogs scared me. We're back on topic.
But no, I mean we had 3 Peter Parkers, 3 Spider-Man. They finally see each other.
Interacted.
The way they interacted was exactly how you expected them to interact. And it was like you have these 3 smart men looking at each other. Hey, we have the same name, and it was funny. Like one of the funny parts when they were in the lab, and Ned went, "Hey, Peter," all of them, yeah. Parker, yeah. The Spider-Man, yeah.
I mean,
computer.
It was like on par with like the Spider-Man meme. You know,
and technically, they do that point. When they were talking about who's Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, that whole argument, they were pointing at each other like who's it? And then that's when Andrew Garfield was like, Spider-Man 3.
You know,
and that's the thing. Like that's fan service,
self-deprecating acknowledgement,
right? And you have like he was essentially saying, I understand I'm the lesser of the 3 Spider-Men. I wasn't the most popular, but I'm here.
And I'm dealing with it. And, I'm still showing up, damn it.
Right. And it was that. And it was also the conversation. And this has been memed as well. The conversation of Tobey Maguire having organic webs versus Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland having the mech.
I love how they acknowledged the weirdness and creepiness
it was like,
behind.
Wait, dude, how? What
do you make it in your body?
It was like wait, so where do your webs come from? It was like we create them. We created the web shooters.
In a lab.
Yeah, it was like I did it in lab. It was like and Peter and Tom Holland was like, yeah, and I just kind of made it in science class. And then he was just like, yeah, no, it just comes out of my wrist. And it's like, does it come out of anywhere else? Like, no. But no, we got that. We had them like figuring out how to work as a team, and literally all of them was like, well, except for Tom. You had Toby and Andrew. They were both like, I've never worked as a team because literally they had their own.
They had movies. Never ever heard of the Avengers a day.
Yeah, I worked with the Avengers. Like, yeah, who's that? Is that a band?
You're in a band?
We had that, and like them just fighting essentially the Sinister Six. It's the Sinister Five because we hadn't gotten all of them yet.
Kingpin's not there yet.
Kingpin or Kraven the Hunter, who technically is part of the Sinister Six as well, yeah. Which was technically supposed to be this movie, but we'll probably get it soon.
Who was the? So we had Lizard. Mm-hmm. We had Sandman.
Yep.
We had Green Goblin.
Yep.
We had Dr. Octopus.
Yep.
And we had Electro.
Yep.
What other villain was supposed to be added?
So like I said, technically it was just the Sinister Five. If they did the actual Sinister Six, it would have been either Rhino or Kraven the Hunter.
And Rhino was
in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2. Well, it would have been nice, honestly. But
we got like Paul Giamatti to come back.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but I mean, like going through that final sequence of the 3 Spider-Man fighting the Sinister Five at this point,
which just came up on you so fast for 2 hours.
You would think, I would say, after 2 hours, it still came up on you out of
right,
nowhere. Yeah,
right.
It just kind of
like, oh shit, we're fighting. Oh,
right.
We're final battle. All right,
we are here.
All right.
And I mean, like when they finally figure out, hey, let's work as a team, and like that first intro of like them swinging together and like pulling each other with their webs. And,
he's like, I worked on a team.
Perfect.
Avengers.
You were in band?
It's the best moment.
Yeah, that. But then, I mean, you also saw in the trailer that MJ falls off of the scaffolding, and we see Tom trying to reach for her. Well, in the movie, Green Goblin decides he wants to sideswipe my man Tom, and
T-bone
we missed
him,
that point.
Straight out the way.
Yeah, and you think all is lost. MJ is about to fall to the ground. All of a sudden, you see Andrew Garfield. He's like, nope, I'm not going to let that happen again.
Full redemption.
He caught her. He made sure to catch her first, and then web sling, and then hit the ground.
Instead of just like...
Instead of grabbing
and
her.
breaking her freaking
He learned from his mistakes. When I tell you that crowd went wild on that point, the crowd went freaking wild.
Insane.
And then he looked at her. He was like, "Are you okay?" She said, "Yeah." She looked at him.
I teared up. I
was definitely because she looked back at him and he was like, "Are you okay?" He said,
because he saw
Gwen.
Yeah, he saw Gwen Stacy and her so hard.
Woo! But like that movie, like
also, I love how they basically rewrote the history books for all 3 endings.
Yeah, I was saying,
like everybody else,
instead of all of them dying, they're
like,
back to normal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at the end, because I don't think I never really realized how dark the first Spider-Man.
Well, the first 2 iterations of Spider-Man, literally all their villains die.
Everybody dies, and I just didn't. I didn't really get
because it was like comic book and lighthearted, and like you think the villains, they're just gone. That's it,
right?
Because the villains are gone. You don't have to worry about that. But I mean, except for like Green Goblin, but I mean, you obviously see him get stabbed with his own glider.
My man got split in half.
Yeah. That was. You didn't realize it was a dark because it was like Spider-Man, he won, yay!
Right.
So I was like, no, my dude got split in half with his own glider.
And like the dude at the beginning of the first one, like ends up just falling off and like going splat. Casually, and they acknowledge that in this one. You know, like they really acknowledge like how that happened.
Like,
and fucked up Tobey Maguire. He was like, real deal. Like the first night I was ever Spider-Man, like on the low, I killed a motherfucker, and like this had me messed up.
Like I was not the same. Like he had an existential crisis. He was not able to web swing on the second movie. Like he even said that. It was like I actually had a web block because I was having an existential crisis.
Like they addressed it in really cool ways, and then they like, all right, so now that's what happened. Now we're gonna do it different.
Right now there is a theory because there is kind of a plot hole of why Electro knows that Andrew Garfield is Peter Parker, because technically he didn't from the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2. He was just a lackey to.
But he like realized it.
To Green, he realized it like he was like Green Goblin's lackey in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was Harry Osborn.
Right.
But there may be a deleted scene, or it's just kind of like it was a scene that wasn't really manifested. Is that basically what happened between the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2 and essentially Spider-Man No Way Home was that Electro finally did find out, because after the end of, you remember Andrew Garfield said that he went to some dark places too after Spider-Man 2, and there's a possibility that he killed his best friend. When he was talking, that's when he was talking to Dad. It was like, please don't kill your best friend. And because I had to kill my best friend. Because I mean, the same thing happened with Tobey Maguire. Like Harry died because they were fighting each other. Right. Because he became the Goblin.
Right.
It was like, hey, please don't kill your best friend. Your best friend is if your best friend becomes evil, please don't kill him. Right. So I'm pretty certain Andrew Garfield, he did that with his Goblin, just the same as Tobey Maguire did that.
That's fair.
And so that's what he's saying. He went to those dark places, and that's why we got. That's why they're both saying they were like in some pretty dark places. We don't want Tom Holland to get to that place,
right?
Even though he was about to like murk.
Mergoblin.
Picked up his glider, was
He
about
was
to
ready-
stab him
Yeah, full
to
on.
death.
Full on.
I got a question about that. They haven't introduced the Harry Osborn and the Tom Holland universe. have they?
Nope. They're like even Norman Osborn, when he was Norman, he was like, I'm in this new universe. I don't have a son. I don't have a family. Oscorp doesn't exist.
Nope.
Which that solidifies in the MCU that Oscorp does not exist yet.
Yep.
So, or it may not
Like
exist
Harry
at all.
Osborn very well may come up in college, which is
Right.
like where we're headed. Maybe if Tom Holland makes more movies.
He has to, like, he signed that contract. It's that Sony contract that he's making more movies, and Spider-Man 4 is in development. And I know for a fact that Kevin Feige is not going to let go of this cash grab.
that's
Neither
fair.
is Amy Pascal, who's the producer of Sony.
That's
They're
fair.
not going to let go of this cash grab. Even if he does say he wants to go behind the camera, he can do that. He can be a producer and a director and like direct himself, kind of sort of. So he can still do that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But you know what I did see? Andrew Garfield might be getting some more work
Finally, yeah,
as,
I did see that.
as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like I saw that there's like legitimately, he got so much love, like fan love from all the people that watched this most recent film already that they're like deeply considering it.
Please, Sony, bring back the Amazing Spider-Man. At least give us an Amazing Spider-Man 3 so that we can have a trilogy for all three Spider-Man.
That would be nice. Like, or like even give me like a Amazing Spider-Man and Friends.
Oh yeah,
Like
that's
introduce,
possible.
like we could introduce some of like the X-Men universe like within it. You know, like I don't know. We got
It depends on the universe that we want to bring in and all that.
because what is what's her face is Phoenix the X-Men Rise of the Phoenix with Joe Jonas's wife.
Oh, Sophie Turner. That, I mean, that's still Fox.
That's still Fox, so it's
Yeah.
like outside of the
And I
whole
mean,
thing.
that Fox deal just ended, and I mean, that's why the X-Men they're basically on the table now, so they can't be introduced to the MCU at this point because
Right.
after like,
They'd have to do an ass pull to pull them in at this point, though.
so what?
I said it'd be kind of like an ass pull to pull them in at this point, wouldn't it?
Thought about it last minute, just tried to pull them in.
I mean, you could, but
Well, I mean, no, I mean, they're taking their time. I mean, the next obvious thing that we're getting, and before we wrap things up with the episode, I know the next obvious thing that we're getting, other than Ant-Man and the Wasp and Kang the Conqueror, is Fantastic Four, and that's
Right.
and that's already
Right,
fit
and,
in to
right, and that'll fit
into
in,
the MCU.
and that'll fit in, and that's in New York too, so that'll
Right.
fit in well with whatever Peter's
So I mean,
doing.
and that kind of can sort of also lead to mutants being born,
I was thinking
either with Scarlet Witch and her side, because she technically is a mutant in the MCU.
Yeah.
because she was created.
With its Mind Stone.
Yeah, she was created with the Mind Stone, but also it can be created with how the Fantastic Four are created with that space rock that
Space rock,
explodes,
yeah.
and it
Space,
can actually
yeah,
be like they can bring that
radioactivity.
radioactivity back to Earth and spread that across the world. So there's multiple ways that they can introduce the X-Men to the MCU. We just don't know yet, positively. But I know for a fact that we are getting Fantastic Four because somebody bought the Avengers Tower. We just don't know yet. And apparently it wasn't Osborn because Oscorp hasn't been invented yet,
Right.
nor does it exist. So it could be the Baxter Building,
Right.
which is the parents of the Baxter children.
Who's the Mr. Stretch?
Invisible Girl, yeah. Oh, it's Invisible Girl's dad.
isn't his son like OP though?
Oh, Mr. Fantastic, yeah, Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm, their child is like their child, and then they're well, it's God's here, but then it like leads all the way down. Like Reed Richards and Sue Storm are basically the great grandparents of Kang the Conqueror. His name is Nat Richards, something like that.
Huh?
He is essentially Kang the Conqueror is essentially the great grandson of Reed Richards and Sue Storm. That's why I'm saying that the Fantastic Four kind of does lead all into all of this.
Yeah,
Kang the
yeah.
Conqueror, because he's a time god villain at this point.
Yeah.
It's essentially it's a complicated history. I'll have
Yeah,
to read back up.
yeah,
on
we'll
it,
have to
but
talk
it's-
about that
yeah.
some more off type. But we can go on and on.
We can go on, and what we're going to do now is take a quick break, and you're going to hear a word from our sponsor, Anchor, and then we'll be right back with the Weekly Blurb. We'll be right back, guys. Hey guys, it's Jeremy here to talk to you about Anchor, the free podcast tool that you all need. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, like I said, it's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer or your phone. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, and it's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So, guys, go ahead and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm on your computer to get started.
It's time for the Weekly Blerd!
All right, and we are back.
Back.
There we go. I was wondering. All right. Welcome back to Blerd Survival Guide. It's time for the weekly blurb, and Jeremy's going first. So, Jeremy, go. Thanks, Jeremy. Right. Well, this week, it's the week of Christmas. It's a time of families coming together, but we also...
Christmas cheer is abounding.
Yeah. We have to get ready for spending time with family and coming from across the countries and cities and states, and we all have to remember that this is the second year in a row that we are dealing with a pandemic, Panini, Panorama, Panera Bread, all the above. But yeah, we just want to let you guys know that we over here at Blerd Survival Guide want you to be safe for the holidays. We want you to also take the time out. If you haven't already, go get your booster shot. If you haven't gotten your booster shot yet, if you haven't gotten the initial COVID test shots yet, get those. I mean, you're about to spend time with people that you may have seen last week, but also haven't seen in a couple months. And especially if you're going to go see your grandparents or anybody at least over the age of 50 that are more susceptible to getting hit with diseases, not just COVID, just be safe.
Anything else that makes them vulnerable after potentially contracting that disease. I mean,
right.
My grandfather is already so nervous to be around my aunt and uncle because of the Omicron variant.
Right, and I mean, that's the newest variant that's out there, and we just saw recently how hard it hit New York. Like, I just finished watching an episode of Saturday Night Live, and they had to change the entire episode because Omicron was just so
they've been back. After they've been back.
Yeah, the whole city's been back. And Paul Rudd, who was the host, it was him, Tina Fey came back, Tom Hanks, Kenan Thompson, and Michael Che. Those were the only 5 people in the cast that were on camera. And two of the bandmates in the studio. I mean, we also had like very minimal crew members there to like shoot the camera and do the cue cards and everything. But other than that, you had the smallest, the bare bones crew to make it happen there in New York because they still were able to work, but it was still keeping it safe with, like I said, the Omicron variant that's taken over. But we also still have the Delta variant that's already across this country, and we're still dealing with that. So stay safe, stay positive in being healthy, stay negative with COVID, please, so we can all spend time with our families, so we can sing, so we can have food, have gifts, and just be able to spend quality time with each other. Other than that, like I said, go get your shots, go get tested often. If you don't want to get your shots, go get tested often, go get tested frequently, get your booster. If you already have your 2 shots, go get your booster shot. It just makes you even safer. Like Jay said early on in the podcast, we just came from Virginia, and we were all 3 of us, myself, Jay, and Miriam, were triple vaxxed. Like, we made sure that we were safe to go. We had our masks on when needed. We made sure we were in a place that was safe, and everybody there was vaccinated or has been vaccinated or safe to be in that arena.
Right.
And that was with over 3,000 people. And we want you all to stay safe so that you are able to do things like that. Also to go out and, like I said, and I'm just keep repeating myself because it's important that we just need to stay healthy for the holidays, but not just for the holidays, for a healthier America, a healthier world, so that we can get back to some type of normal. And that's why I'm going to cut my weekly blurb short, because I think I hit the nail on the head, and I'm going to end it there. And that's what you got from me.
Thank you, Jeremy. We definitely do need to stay safe, and
Yes,
I hope
sir.
that all of our listeners are staying safe, either by taking your CDC precautions, either by getting vaccinated, either by the Janssen or by the Pfizer or by the Moderna, whatever means that you can manage to get vaccinated. We highly encourage it because we do know that it does save lives. On another note, like Jeremy mentioned earlier, that we got back from a 2-day concert from one of our favorite artists, Grizz.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk a little bit about Grizz because I have gotten the pleasure to see him develop as an artist over the last 6 or 7 years.
Honestly, just about a decade at this point for you.
Well, no, I started listening to him in 2015. That was the first time I'd ever heard him. It was right after his Goodwill Prevail tour had started.
My favorite album, and I never got to see it.
And I mean, he performed at Zydeco, bro. Like, he performed at Zydeco, which is like a really small venue in the city of Birmingham, which most of our listeners know about. And I mean, honestly, probably don't associate with a major artist that has grown to the level of fame and, you know, attention that Grizz has at this point. I mean, Homeboy kind of really started out on a really small scene. I mean, he performed in small clubs in Auburn. He's from Michigan, so he performed locally there, and like he had a very small run of college town tours before he ever got into his like big scene. And a lot of people associated with him with this guy named Pretty Lights, who is a very talented musician. Okay. Who I think that you would enjoy a great deal, honestly, because of like how, you know, it's super. It's super vibey and it has a lot of instrumental nature to it, but it's also super, you know, EDM culture-y as well. But Grizz, really, I've gotten to see him grow from having a very minimal stage setup with like, you know, maybe 1 or 2 screens at max to what we saw this weekend. Oh boy. At Hampton Coliseum, which is his first stadium like run of shows that he's ever done since in his entire career, and I think that he blew it out of the water. Folks, if you haven't ever listened to him, he's had actually a few commercials, songs on commercials, you know, on a McDonald's commercial, on Apple commercial. I'm pretty sure there was like a time when his saxophone. I heard his saxophone.
I think it was probably like an NFL commercial or an NBA college football.
I think it was an NBA commercial.
I think you're right. It may be like an NBA Finals commercial.
I'm pretty sure it was an NBA.
If not him, it was big gigantic.
It was
between
one of
those
the two. It was one of the two.
Now that you said that, I can see it in my head.
He's known for playing the saxophone and dubstep, and I mean that's basically what I can boil it down to.
That's what grabbed my attention.
Is like this man comes with the funk and the jazz, and then he brings like the bassy dubs and wubs that I love. And I mean, it's honestly an amazing amalgamation of 2 different genres of music that can complement each other when combined. And I think that, and I mean, he's so talented. The man has shaped and reshaped his sound and refined it after reshaping it, because like he really did come in with a different vibe and has like really evolved into this other artist that is becoming so wildly popular across so many different subcultures of music, which is like I think really cool. And I encourage folks to really check him out. He's on Spotify, he's on Apple Music, he's on SoundCloud, he's on YouTube. Grizz, Griz. His real name is Grant, and I mean he dude brings the funk. And like if you like funky music, if you like to have a good time, if you like, it's overwhelmingly happy music. I mean,
and he's literally the definition of play that funky music, white boy.
Truly. He brings the funk, he brings the bass, bro. Yes. Like, and he brings like a really heightened level of joy, and like his whole model is show love, spread love, and I really appreciate him for what he brings in terms of, you know, the positivity that is necessary within music, and I think that. Folks, that if you check him out, you'll enjoy it. I mean, he's got female rappers on his label. He's got male rappers on his label. He's got like all sorts of different other artists. Like it's not just like the typical kind of EDM where there is no words or anything. No,
it definitely has lyrics and substance to it, and it's
fun.
Yeah, it's dope as a whole, and yeah.
But no, I'll just take my moment to hype him up, and if you check him out, I hope you enjoy it.
Grizz, come on the show. But no, Jay, we appreciate that, and we appreciate everybody who listens every week. We appreciate you guys for listening, and other than that, people, Jay, where can the people find us?
You can find us on our Instagrams. Mine is at JW0283.
And I'm at JBear3295.
Or you could find us on our Blerd Survival Guide social media platforms on Instagram at Blerd Survival Guide, on Facebook at Blerd Survival Guide, on TikTok and Twitter at Blerd Guide, or you can email us at blerdsurvivalguide@gmail.com.
Remember, you can shop with us at Redbubble. You can search you can search Blerd Survival Guide. Merry Christmas to everybody this week. Make sure you get all your gifts out and everything. And other than that, keep surviving, everybody. Listen to the theme song.
Two guys, two mics, our producer. Step into the spotlight, survival is troopers. Come and take a seat with the combo we provide. Every Tuesday, it's the Blerd Survival Guide. Two guys, two mics, our producer. Step into the spotlight, survival is troopers. Come and take a seat with the combo we provide. Every Tuesday, it's the Blerd Survival Guide.